Good morning, FlossTube. This is Deb or Deborah, scienceknitster, here on YouTube and Instagram, and at least for now, Twitter. I'm seriously thinking about getting off of Twitter. But anyway, it is the morning of, I forgot to check the date, November 20th. And let's see, this is FlossTube number 34. So normally I start off with what I'm drinking. I'm drinking something hot today because it is quite cold here for South Texas. Those Canadians sent us a blast of cold air, and it was in the 40s overnight. And there's a pretty stiff north wind blowing, and our house faces north-south. So let's just say it's usually a couple of degrees colder by the windows than it is at the thermostat. Yes, it's a little chilly. At least today it's not raining. It was drizzly and then harder rain yesterday, which just made it worse. But we do talk about wind chill here. And this morning when we went to the grocery store early this morning, it was 46 degrees, actual degrees, but with the wind chill it was about 38. Which is quite cold for here. Yes, very cold. So pardon me if I keep holding my cup and sipping my drink because it's cold, so I need something warm. So this morning I'm drinking a green tea latte that I make with matcha that I get from, actually I buy from Amazon because I can't find it locally. And I mix it with a little water and then add steamed or hot, actually really I do it in the microwave, almond milk. But I actually like it better than the Starbucks green tea latte because there's no sugar in it. I used to always get the Starbucks green tea lattes. They taste a little too sweet to me now because I started drinking it without sugar. So, today I want to give a little recap of basically Dark October and Black November, what I've been stitching, and I have a few finishes to show, a couple, and then just what I've been working on. So I'll start off with finishes. So you might remember, those of you that are return viewers, and I really meant to say, I should have made notes. But I didn't. I've had quite a few new subscribers recently, thanks to another YouTuber, another FlossTuber, and I'm gonna have to remember her name. I believe it's, let me look it up here pretty quickly. My notifications. Let's see here. Yeah, she mentioned me in her FlossTube a couple weeks ago, and then she actually tagged me, and because you can do that on YouTube now, and it led to a bunch of new subscribers. Several actually mentioned that it was because of her mentioning me that that they subscribed. They watched my last one and subscribed. And it's, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Needleberry Stitcher. I watched a little bit of hers. I didn't get a chance to finish it. I'm way behind watching FlossTube. Work's been pretty busy. And I get home and I'm tired, and I feel like most of the FlossTube I want to pay attention so I can like write down the things that I want to buy. And so I've been like binge watching stuff on Amazon instead of watching FlossTube. And then sometimes lately I think I mentioned this last time, I've been watching a lot of quilting YouTubes. I don't know why. I do quilt, I just don't have time to do it right now. Maybe that's why. Anyway, but thank you, Needleberry Stitcher. I encourage those of you who haven't checked her out yet to check her out. I'll try to remember to tag her in the description, so that those of you who haven't checked her out before can check her out. So thank you again, Needleberry Stitcher, and thank you to all the new subscribers, and thank you to all those of you that are sticking with me. I had several nice comments since my last couple of FlossTubes. People asking me to keep doing these, so I will. I think I mentioned last time I'm moving at the end of the year, and I'm hoping that a new job I'll be starting, which I'll talk about closer to the event, will allow me a little more time for both crafting and for FlossTube. Okay, so now on to what we're actually here for, stitching. And I actually have a little knitting at the end. Okay, so you might recall last time one of my finishes was it was one of the Animals in Dresses by Barbara Anna. I'm forgetting which one it was. Oh, I think it was when I was doing for summer. It was from a Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher issue. And so I felt like, okay, I'm not stitching a Barbara Anna Animal in a Dress right now. I need to stitch something Barbara Anna. So I had got out from my old Mermania back in 2020. This is Flowers from the Sea by Barbara Anna. And of course I didn't get anything to put behind this. Maybe this will work. It's not white, but that's okay. It's light colored anyway. It's better. So I stitched this on 32 count dirty linen using the called for colors. I may have subbed a couple of them with something really close, because I didn't at the time, because I started this in 2020, remember. I didn't have the exact color, but I'd have to go back in my notes and double check. But anyway, so this is finished. You can see I tried putting it in a hoop that I had, but it was a little too big. This should fit in a 6-inch hoop. So I'm gonna look at what other hoops I have and see if I can find one that will fit it, because I want to do a hoop finish on this one because it's circular. But this is so cute. And actually, Needleberry Stitcher mentioned that she found me because she was thinking about doing a Mermania back in 2020, and I had posted, and she'd been watching me since then. So again, thank you. So anyway, Flowers from the Sea. So I guess with the hearts and everything, and it says it's for you, it's supposed to be for someone. So, which at the time I decided to do this one, I just liked the colors and that it was a mermaid, and I didn't even think about that part. So I'll just, when I do a fully finish on this one in a hoop, I guess I'll give it to my husband. Maybe I'll fully finish it in times for Valentine's Day. It's not very Valentine's colors, but hopefully he can't hear me. He's upstairs. Hopefully he can't hear me. So anyway, I'm at our house in Corpus Christi. So let's see, for Thanksgiving. So that's one finish. And then I had another finish, something that actually I've been working on. Oh, I can't remember how long I've been working on this one. I think since 2017. I get a big kick. I know I've mentioned this before, but I have to say it again. I get a big kick out of, especially, well, not even, some of the newer or younger stitchers, but, oh, this is one of my oldest whips. It's from 2019. I've got whips from the 90s, I'm sure. We won't talk about those. Okay. This is a bigger one. This is Uber Pumpkin or Uber Jack. I'm not sure which. On the chart, on one side it says Uber Pumpkin, on the other side it says Uber Jack, but it's one of the Ubers from Bent Creek. And I stitched this on, I believe this is light natural 18 count linen. And I used, and this one, I did use all the called for colors. So, and I use pearl cotton, you know, except for my little signature there. That's with DMC. But it was a mixture of DMC and, let's see, since these are all pearl cotton number 5s, it was Weeks Dye Works, and I think all the over dyes were Weeks Dye Works. There might have been, I don't have the chart with me. I already put it in my, I'm done with this pile. Anyway, I believe it was all Weeks Works, but if you look up the chart, you should be able to see. Okay, so I thought, since I've done a lot of these Ubers, that I would go ahead and do a little, I guess call it a little trunk show, a little finish show, because none of them are fully finished, okay? Because I'm still dithering over how I want to do it, and I'll talk about that at the end, end of the little trunk show. But I did this for my animals and dresses last time, so I thought it might be fun to do something similar this time, since there were some comments that people enjoyed that. So, so here we go. Okay, so these are past finishes of other Ubers, and if I didn't say, the Ubers are by Bent Creek. They've got a whole series that are seasonal, and really all of them except the very last one that I'm going to show you are tied to specific holidays. So that was Halloween, obviously. And so let me go through these, and I'll kind of start with the beginning of the year. And these were, the order I'm going to show you actually is the order I finished them in, amazingly. Okay, so this is another, this is Uber Valentine or Uber Heart. I can't remember what it's called. I believe it's Uber Valentine. I actually finished this in 2018. This was the first Uber that I finished. I believe it was the first one that I started. And I did make some color changes on this one. I'm sure I wrote it on the chart because I was writing on my charts at that point, because some of the colors were gentle arts, which doesn't do pearl cotton. And so I replaced some of those with either a Weeks Dye Works or a, what's the other one? It's abbreviated CC. I'll think of it later. Anyway, so I replaced one or two with that. So that's Uber Valentine. So let me put that aside. And then there's Uber Shamrock. So some of these run, most of these run this way, but the pumpkin ran this way. But they're all approximately the same size within a stitch or two. If you're, you know, so this is Uber Shamrock. So obviously St. Patrick's Day. And I think I may have done some replacements on this one too. Again, a combination of over dye and DMC. And so when the over dye was a gentle art, and which there isn't any pearl cotton for, instead of having a mixture of pearl cotton and 6 strands of floss, which in the past I actually would have preferred, like when I first started doing things like this from like the zippers from Bent Creek, I actually preferred doing the 6 strands of floss. But then I felt like I needed to actually lay them so they looked nice, and this was just easier. When my eyes got old, this was just easier to use the pearl cotton. So I may have done some replacement on this one too, is what I'm trying, my long-winded way of trying to say. So whenever a gentle arts color in any of these, and I know the next one I'm going to show, I did replace several. I tried to replace them with an over dye that was similar from Classic Colorworks. I knew I'd remember it. Classic Colorworks or Weeks Dye Works, and most of the time it was Classic Colorworks. Okay, so the next one is Easter. Uber Easter or Uber Egg, I can't remember. So I definitely replaced some of them on this one. There were some Gentle Arts that I replaced with Classic Colorworks. I'm almost positive this was a Classic Colorworks that I replaced. But this one is so happy, all the colors. I think this pink was a replacement also. I can't remember. Anyway. Okay, and then the last one I've actually finished. I finished this one in 2020. So both the Shamrock and the Easter, I finished in 2020 during lockdown. I do remember that. And then the turkey I also finished in 2020. So I'm a pretty seasonal stitcher, so I'm sure I didn't finish this. I could go back and look until the fall. And this was actually, I think, either the pumpkin or this one was the second one I started. I think I might have actually started the pumpkin first, but then, you know, October's over pretty quickly. And I was like, oh, time to stitch a turkey. So I started this one, and I was really, really close to finishing this one. I think I just had like some of the letters down here because I was missing, I had run out of one of the colors. And so I was able to get it and finish this off in the fall of 2020. Both the Easter and the Valentine and this one, I'm not sure what color. They're all on 18 count linen. And I'm not sure if these are light natural, then the other ones are just regular natural, the darker ones. I don't remember. And some of these, Bent Creek didn't actually, and some of them they did say like it was stitched on light natural or natural, but some of them they don't actually say what they were stitched on, just that it was 18 count. Okay, so those are the ones that I finished, but there's also a Christmas one, which some of you might remember from last year. I worked on it during December. Those of you that are longtime viewers might remember that I realized near the end of my Christmas stitching that snowman's in the wrong place, and I still haven't taken it out and fixed it, but that's got to happen this November. And then I'm also I'm trying to do different skin tones on my elves. So I'm just sort of picking stuff from my stash that to replace at least some of them with a different skin tone, just to show the diversity of the world. So anyway, this is Uber Tree. I think I didn't say that. This is Uber Tree. So I need to move that snowman and try to finish this one. But unfortunately, I have too many Christmas things I want to try to finish this year. And then you've also seen this one relatively recently. Again, if you're a longtime viewer, this is Uber Flag, obviously for 4th of July. And I did work on it some this summer. Just with everything going on, I just wasn't feeling particularly patriotic this year. So I didn't work on it as much as I could have. And I think actually, oh yeah, I think I ran out of this color and I needed to get some more, which I have done. So that should be a finish next summer. Actually, summer was very busy too. So between those two things, I just didn't get much done. And actually, you can tell I'm tired. I've totally lost my train of thought here. So, it's Uber. It's actually Uber Christmas Tree. So this is what the tree looks like when it's finished. And you can see that the original, which is from, what's it? Copyright. I've written on this, so looks like it might be 2019 or 2009. Sorry, you're gonna have to check. I wrote on the chart, so it's a little hard for me to see through the plastic. Yeah, it looks like 2009. And I did do some replacement here. There was some Gentle Arts, replaced Gentle Arts Dry Time with Classic Colorworks Weeping Willow, and I replaced Slate with Weeks I Work Icicle. This one actually does have a, well, what's now Classic Colorworks. You can tell how old this is because it says Crescent Colors, as well as DMC and Weeks I Work. So that one will definitely be coming out shortly to have some work done in it. And then for the flag, oh, let me put this back. Bag. I don't keep the these in the bags because they're kind of big, and I didn't want to fold them up. I was originally stitching them on scroll bars because that's how I used to stitch all the time. But now I mainly stitch in hand so I can stitch left-handed. Here's Uber flag. I didn't need to do any replacements on this one. It's all Weeks Dye Works and DMC. So that's this one. This one was originally also published in 2009. I believe all of these are still available. I think when I looked on Hoffman, just to make sure I hadn't missed any, they were all still there. And when I was doing that this last year, I found another Uber. This is Uber Snowman. So I thought, well, this will be fun for winter once Christmas is over. I could just replace the tree with the snowman. And am I doing any replacement on this one? I am doing some replacements on this one. Looks like. Or maybe not. Looks like it's just Weeks Dye Works and DMC. Oh. Let's see. Okay, so that's this one, but they didn't make the chart Uber. They put it in a littler chart packing thing. It's for this one. This one, the copyright is 2011. So somehow I missed this one, and I don't think that, so to me this like screams winter, but I wonder if they did it for those that don't do Christmas or something. I don't know, because if they done seasonal, like if this was winter and they had one that was like just spring, not a specific holiday in spring and fall and so on, I would have got those two because I'm a sucker for seasonal. And you got to have all the seasons. If you don't have all the seasons, can't leave one out. Just saying. Okay, so this one, I didn't get very far. I worked on this, I think, last January for a little bit. January, February. And by then, it's starting to get a little warm. It doesn't really feel like winter here anymore. So, that got put away. But we'll see. I definitely want to finish the Christmas tree this year, but we'll see, because as you will see, I've got some other things I'm trying to finish this year also. So, not all of them Christmas. Okay, so let me just kind of move these down out of the way, and I'll put them away when I'm done. Okay, excuse my elbow. Okay, so that's my little trunk show, or whatever you want to call it, of the Ubers by Bent Creek. Okay, on to, I guess we'll segue into whips I'm actually working on at the moment. Okay, what did I work on this last month? So let's start with things I worked on for, Dark October. So October is Dark October. So I worked a little bit on casting a spell. So it's a bunch of smalls. And I think I've mentioned before, I do actually have this box, and I bought it from I bought like a whole kit from Ginger's Needle Arts and Framing, which unfortunately closed quite a few years ago now, in Austin. So this is a Blackbird Designs, and this is from, I believe, 2011. I finally started it 2020, maybe? I think October of 2020. And so I've been working on various pieces. So I had previously finished, I do have one finish of one of these. So I had previously done, the first year I did these two, the Halloween and the thing, and then I think I've shown this before, the little sampler, and then here's another little sampler, and I finished this one last year, I believe. And then just recently I finished, this one is called, this little piece is called Crow. It's this one right here. In solidarity with Abby Bella Stitch, who's been having some health issues, and we were all thinking itty bitty for some things she was going through, and so I stitched this as part of her itty bitty sal, as well as Dark October, and then I believe I finished it around November 13th. I'd have to go and look in my book, but I also did it for Dark 13 stitching. I worked on this, so I actually had already started this, but since this was smaller and more itty bitty, I thought it fit the sal a little better, so I had started this in solidarity with Abby. So so I'm stitching this on 30 count. A Weeks Dye Works called Cappuccino. This is what was kitted in the kit that I bought. The called for is actually, it is 30 count Weeks Dye Works, but it is actually, oh, the gray, which we won't enter. But actually, I like it on this more, this darker, almost, it's got a little bit of an orange cast to it. You know, I think it looks nice with the called for threads, which I think they're all Gentle Arts. Dark chocolate, espresso bean, pumpkin pie, and tarnished gold are used throughout, and that's what came in my kit. So, and I'm using, this is my little thread bed from my friend Susan, so you can see my threads in there. And this is actually from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, from their Hello Pumpkin sal they had a few years ago, 2020 probably, which I was gonna start. I was actually finally, I had kitted it up a while ago, Hello Pumpkin from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and I was gonna start it, and I was like, you know, you're moving, you've got plenty of fall related stuff you could be stitching, you know, like that pumpkin, that Uber pumpkin, this thing. Why don't you just work on something you already have? I don't always listen to myself when I say that, but given that I am moving, I figured that was the better thing to do. So, plus that I was able to get a little more done on casting a skein. So hopefully next year I'll have all the smalls of this finished, because I generally, not always, but I generally work on this for Dark 13 stitching, if I do participate in Dark 13 stitching that month. And so I should be able to finish it and then, you know, get all the smalls done, you know, the little pillows or mounted onto mat board. And then it's time to paint the box. I think Susan and I are going to have a stitchy weekend and do those together. Okay, so what else did I stitch on? I started right at the end. When did I start? Let me check. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Did I start this for... No, oh, I started it last year. Duh. Did I work on this at all in October? I did not. I was trying to finish Uber Pumpkin. So I did not stitch on this at all for Dark October, but I did stitch on it. So this is from Modern Folk Embroidery. It is La Calavera Catrina, in honor of Dia de los Muertos, which is November 2nd. Basically, it's how Mexicans celebrate All Souls Day, a Catholic holiday. So it's actually, from what I understand, based on what I've learned from living in South Texas, as well as some reading I've done, it's a combination of the local indigenous peoples' culture hopes, as well as Catholic. So it was a sort of and came out in Mexican culture as Dia de los Muertos. If you've seen the little animation Coco, which I always watch on Dia de los Muertos, it explains some of or it shows you some of the celebration. And in Brownsville, where I currently work, my college always has an event. So I got this out when I got home from the event, and I made some progress. I also, for November, used this for my dark 13 stitching. So I think all I had was some of this done, and like, I can't remember how many letters, but not very many. So I finished all the letters. Basically, I did the easy stuff. Letters are easy. Letters and this outlines. I need to actually start doing the outline down here. And now I need to start working on the inner part. Well, actually, I have to pay attention, letter, and count. Which I did not have the brain power to do this fall. So I was also using this for Jacob's the mastermind behind Modern Folk Embroidery, using it for his dark November sampler, or black November's the black sampler thing that Jacob's got going. I forget what the hashtag is. Anyway, so I'm working on that. Oh, I didn't say what I'm stitching it on. So this is, I believe, Legacy linen by Picture This Plus. 36 count, it might be 40. I need to double check. It's 36 or 40 count. And I just found the black that I had the most of in my stash of overdyes, and it happened to be Weeks Dye Works Onyx. Why I had so much, I don't know. I think they came in different kits that I had bought over the years. So I had a bunch. So that's what I decided to use. And then I'd been missing my little black, it's actually kitty cat scissors. And it turned out last year when I started this, I stuck them in this bag because it kind of fit. So once I finish the casting a spell, I think this will become my dark 13, my regular dark 13 stitching piece. Okay, what else have I been working on? So with November coming, I picked up again, like I said, I'm a very seasonal stitcher. Bendy Stitchy's Turkey Trot. And I'm stitching this on, here's so it's all DMC. So I put it on floss drops. Well, most of it. I think this is just an extra in case I need it. And I'm stitching it on, the tag's on it, so I don't have to remember. 36 count Indigo by Luminous Fiber Arts. Let me actually just do it this way. Fold it over. So last year I had finished the turkey and then started working on the what do you want to call it? The carriage, the cart, the pumpkin cart with the chef in it. So I've started working on that. So it's finally starting to look like a pumpkin. And I connected so I'd actually only had the ribbon down to about here. So I connected the ribbon to the cart and started working on the cart. So I do plan to work on this some more. probably this week. But it is Sampler Sunday, so I'm working on a sampler today that I will show you momentarily. One other whip to show first. Okay, so that's Turkey Trot by Bendy Stitchy. I'm using all the called for DMC, and I'm not using the called for linen. I decided to, like at the time I started this, let's see, what is it actually on? Oh, it's on Picture This Plus Fathom 28 count. Of course, I wanted to stitch on a higher count than that. I used, I should say, when I stitch on anything 36 count or higher, I use 1 strand if I'm using a cotton thread, and below that I use 2. Sometimes on 28 count or 14 count Ada, depending on what it is, I may use 3 strands. It depends. But yeah. So so this will come out this week, and I'll work on it a bit when I have time. Let me think. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, so yeah. So at the time I wanted to start this, it was really hard to get Picture This Plus, and I had just purchased the Indigo from Luminous Fiber Arts, Misty Purcell. I really like her linens. I like the colors that she does. She has some that are really, really nice for samplers. And then like this one, I forget why she did this one. One of her pieces is on this, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one. I'm sure I have it, but I don't remember. But anyway, I thought it would look nice with this, and the colors seem to look very nice on it. And Michelle of Bendy Stitchy has commented more than once when I've posted pictures that she really likes the color of that linen with the, you know, her colors that she chose for the piece. Okay. So I've continued to work on this piece, Feliz Navidad, when I do Merry 25 stitching, and sometimes I do more than the 25th because I really like this piece. Oh, that reminds me, no, I haven't stitched that part yet. I belong to the Our Sampler Years group on Facebook, and they're having a thing this weekend where you show pieces you're working on with the Bountiful basket, but I don't think I've stitched the basket yet. Let me check. I don't remember. It's been a few weeks since I worked on this one. So this will come out this week on the 25th. No, I haven't stitched the basket yet, but I am down in that area. So I'm thinking I can finish this one this year. I really do. Especially if I work on it in December. We shall have to see. So I'm stitching this with all the called for. This is a 36 count legacy linen from Picture This Plus, and I'm using all the over dyes that are called for. So let's see. Let's show them here. My messy. So they're very subdued colors. You know, I'm a very eclectic stitcher. Some things I like. Sometimes I like bright things, and sometimes I like the more subdued things. Kind of depends on what kind of mood I'm in, I guess. But I've always been that way. So those are the called for colors on the called for fabric. Feliz Navidad. I figured I live in South Texas. I need to do this one. Even though I hardly speak Spanish at all, I am sorry to say, because I could use it in Brownsville. I could have got pretty good at it in Brownsville. Just didn't have time. I can order breakfast tacos. That's about it. And there's some words I know. Some of them aren't good words. My colleagues that speak Spanish can tell you that. It's like, I was like, I know that word. That one I know. Okay. That came up recently. Okay. So, what else have I been working on? Well, as you might recall, I recently finished the Hands Across the Sea sampler, Martha Dawson, which was a stitch along from 2021. So I finally finished it. So I'm trying to catch up in this year's Sal from our Sampler Years group on Facebook. I really thought I could do this one because it's small. We won't talk about how many Hands Across the Sea samplers I have going right now. We won't talk about it. I'll probably have to do a little trunk show of those too. Anyway, so this is Rose Featherstone. This was exclusive to Hobby House Needleworks. They just recently had another exclusive that is going to be, and I don't remember the name of it, but I have it. That's going to be the stitch along for next year. So I'm planning, obviously since I have it, I'm planning to do that one. This one you could purchase, there was different options, and this is the one that had the other little one on the back, which I have done. I finished that one back in January. Excuse me. There were different options. There was a DMC option and 2 different silk options, I think, from Auversois. But I decided, since it was an option, to go with the overdyed option. So I chose the 36 count antique lace from Seraphim, which is what one of the options for the kit from Hobby House. I kind of remember I went back and forth. I went 36 or 40. Maybe I did. I'm gonna have to check my notes. Actually, let me check my Xstitcher app. It'll say. Give me a second. So I use the Xstitcher app. I can do it on my phone and on my iPad, and it syncs up to keep track of both my charts and my threads, or at least the overdyes. And there's a journal aspect of it. Okay, so this is Rose Ada. Rose Ada Featherstone. So it'll tell me 40 count. So this is 40 count. Ha, that's why it looks so small when I use my 4X cheaters instead of my 5X. I was stitching this morning in a family Zoom, and I was using my 4X. Normally when I stitch on 40 and 46, I use 5X. And it was a little hard to see, and I thought, well, maybe it's just because it's dark here, but no, I should have been using my other ones. Anyway, so I had like most of this done previously before I like picked this up again, after I finished Martha Dawson back in September. And so I've got the house almost all in, but I'm running low on sweet potato. I've ordered some more, so I thought I'd wait for it to come just in case it's not exactly, the dye lots are too off, and then I can kind of like go back and forth so it doesn't look so obvious. Yeah, so what do you think? Can I finish it this year? I don't know. I really want to. I want to finish it by the end of the year, which may mean very little Christmas stitching. We'll see. I have to decide, do I want to finish this or do I want to finish Feliz Navidad? Because I might not have time to do both. And move. Okay. Fortunately, I don't have to move very far, but I still have to pack everything in. I've been bringing stuff, and my husband, when he comes down, he brings stuff, but I've been having some issue with this one here. It's a it's a mixture of Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Art. I can't remember if there's any Classic Color Works. I think there is, yes. There's some Classic Color Works, but the lighter green here is Valdani, and for some reason it shreds on me. And I'm using a much shorter length of floss than I normally do, and it still sometimes shreds. I notice it. I don't know if I've changed something how I'm stitching, but normally when I stitch, I tend to twist the floss more, and then I have to untwist it. So I'm used to untwisting, but I've noticed, at least on this piece, when I'm stitching, especially the Valdani, I'm untwisting the floss. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think I've changed anything. So I'm trying to be aware when it looks like it's untwisting to twist it back so it doesn't shred. That seems to be working better. So it's like I can't think of, and why only on this one. I'll have to see next time I pull out Feliz Navidad, which is later this week, if I notice the same thing, and in which case it would indicate I've changed something with how I'm stitching without realizing it. Who knows? Anyway, so that's Rosetta Featherstone. Like I said, that this is for our sampler years 2022 stitch along. I am planning to do the 2023 stitch along with, I forget the name of the chart. I have it. Okay. I guess I should just look it up, right? So I have it on here. Okay, let's see. Inventory, charts, designer, hands across the sea. I think I put it in here already. I might not have put it in here already. What is it? Oh, is it? Yes, Florence Mary Dickinson. Florence Mary Dickinson. That's the one I'm gonna. So I'm gonna start that on January 1st. I got another thing I'm starting on January 1st too. Thank you, Melissa Sampler Nut. There's another Hands Across the Sea that came out recently. I need to actually purchase it. I'll get that one as a PDF because I actually have come to prefer PDFs for, at least for Hands Across the Sea, because Nicola does that the full chart on one page. I don't print it out, but I use it on my iPad, so my eyes don't have to try to count in the gray area, because there's no gray area. But anyway, so yeah, so I got, I think I just bought the chart on this one. She didn't do a overdye conversion, so I'm either going to stitch it with DMC, or often I do my own overdye conversion, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I need to start working on that. At least, you know, what I need to stitch the first month. So, and then I did not get the linen because I figured I had something in my stash that would work. With moving and everything, I'm trying to be good and not buy too much stuff. Yeah, ask me how that's going. Don't ask me how that's going. Okay, so that's Rosetta Featherstone. And the upcoming stitch along in the same group, and the our sampler years in Facebook group. Okay, let's see, what have I got over here? Okay, so now we're on to the purchases part of the show. And first, so this is a club that I'm in. Is this the most recent? Yes, this is the most recent one. This is the Bird Crush Club. I didn't get into it until I think March was the first one. I was working, and I missed the first month, which is a shame because I really liked that. And then I think it was March I got into. And then I missed the Whistling Ducks. Anyway, Lindy said somewhere that she was eventually going to release all of them to everybody. Which is good, because then I can get the ones that I missed. But anyway, so let's see, yeah, it should be plenty. These come out on the 1st, so, or ship on the 1st or around the 1st of the month. So everybody should have these by now. So if you don't, like, fast forward a few seconds. So this is Violent Green Swallow. So that's the actual bird. And then, oops. And then here's the what the stitch piece looks like. And I'm going to finish all of these, if I ever stitch them, as hoop finishes and have like a bird wall. We'll see. So it comes with, I don't think I've mentioned before when I've shown these, it comes with the chart, then a card about the bird, because she's working with a bird photographer who also is really knowledgeable about the birds, because he's been a birder for a long time. Chris, I forget his last name. Anyway, so this has been fun just getting these. I belong to the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild out of Dallas. They do Zoom meetings, which is great. And somebody in the group has been stitching these on like 40 count, I think, which I was thinking, the models are stitched on 32, I believe, 32 or 28. I can't remember which. And there are some of them where you use two different threads. There's like I think two so far. There's been parts where you do two different threads together. And I meant to ask how she did those on the higher count with one strand. Because I was thinking of doing a higher count just to make sure they'd all fit like in a 6-inch hoop. But then when those ones came out where you're supposed to combine two different threads, you know, needle blend, I think is what they call it. Or at least we used to call it that back in the day. But then I was like, well, how am I going to do those? And what's it going to look like if I just do one color? So I need to find out what she did, because hers look really good. So maybe I'll actually start working on those next year. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to have a bird wall. That would be kind of cool. Okay. Other purchases I'll have to show you on my Kindle Fire. So I bought a couple of PDFs from Cosford Rise Stitchery. She's in Cornwall, and she has I believe it's an Etsy shop, but she's Cosford Rise Stitchery, all one word, on Instagram, and there's a link to where she sells her stuff. But she had some posts, and I thought this December basket was really cute. And it's got a little bird. I just liked the colors. And then she also had a nativity, and I'm a sucker for nativities. This one's called Holy, Holy, Holy. So it's a little nativity. I won't have time to stitch this one this year, but I might have to stitch it next year. And let's see. And then there was a freebie that just came out from Carol X Stitcher, I think she is on Instagram. She posted it on her blog. There's she gives her blog address, but she also has an Etsy shop, and she designs as samplers and stitches. So let me navigate to that one. She had a cute little freebie come out recently. Called Christmas Joy Pin Drum. And she did it on 36 count with SWA 103. And I think I probably have most of the colors she used, if not all of them, or something very close. So I might have to do the same. I do stitch on 36 count with SWA 103. Some people won't stitch on anything lower than 40 or 46 with that one, but I actually have a couple of samplers, Hands Across the Sea samplers going with that. And the coverage is sparser than, like, say, maybe slightly sparser than one strand of cotton, but it's enough for me. It depends on what you like, right? Yeah. So those are recent purchases. I have, trying to remember if I purchased anything else stitchy related. I don't think so. If I did, it was PDFs. Okay, so that's what I've been working on cross stitch wise. And what time do we have? A little bit about plans, like I've already mentioned. I really want to finish Rosetta Featherstone, so I'm going to be working on that a lot in December. I do want to get some more done on the turkey trot, so I'll be working on that during this week at least, maybe a little bit next week before it becomes December. I might try to get another day or two in, or at least a little bit more done on La Calavera Katrina. And the other thing, on the 25th, I will definitely be working on Feliz Navidad, although there was a couple other Christmas things that I've been working on this year that I'd been thinking about working on instead, but I really want to make some more progress on that one and see if I can't finish both that one and Rose Ada Featherstone this year. We'll see. We'll see how much I have to work after the semester's over. I'm department chair until January 8th, so there'll still be stuff for me to do. Plus packing and moving, plus Christmas. So I'm pretty sure I'll work on Feliz Navidad. And then I'll, like I said, I'll be working on Rose Ada Featherstone and Feliz Navidad during December, and maybe, you know, I've been in a pretty much stitch what you want when you want mood lately, so I will probably pick up some other things, that Christmassy things that I started in the last year or so. There's a Barbara Anna that, you know, I don't want to go through Barbara Anna withdrawal, so I'll probably pick up Infinite Christmas, which was a freebie she had last year. Actually, I've got it right here. Let me show you. I was trying to keep this under an hour, but maybe not. So this is on a 32 count linen. I think it's, what is it? It is light mocha. I'm not sure by who. It is a Zweigart. So maybe it's Zweigart, but I don't, it doesn't look to be in, like it's hand dyed. And, oh, I can't show you a printed picture because I never printed this one out. So let me pull it up from Dropbox. Should not have closed that. Brianna. I think you can probably still get it from her Instagram. There was a link from her Instagram. Here it is, Infinite Christmas. I'm using all the called for colors, except the white. Actually, I didn't have the floss color, whatever it was. Might have been ecru. I can't remember. What is the white? Yes, it's ecru. For some reason, when I started it at Christmas time, oh, it's freebie. When I started it at Christmas last year, I didn't have ecru floss, and that in order to, you know, move around, I needed to get some of the ecru in there, but I had some number 12 pearl cotton, and it worked like a charm. So that's what I'm actually using for that crew. So I have, so I'm working on the upside down tree. So I will probably pick this up at least a little bit in December. I really want to finish those other two. We'll see. Okay. I keep going out of frame. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, I did, at the end of October, I did work on some socks. Oh, that's where that went. I'm working on these dolly socks by Irish Girly Knits in a discontinued colorway from Hazel Knits called Bobbin's Nest Blue. And this is their... I work my socks two at a time. So I had to work on this just a little bit in October because, you know, it was Socktober. And I think there was a night or two where I was just too tired to even stitch. So this is their They're cashmere and silk blend with, so it's 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% silk. And it's their yarn called Divine. So I'm working on these dotty socks. I'm just working my way down to the toe. I do top down. I do occasionally do toe up, but my preference is do 2 at a time, top down, unless there's some patterns that like twist around and you have to move the stitches between the needles, and that's very difficult when you're doing 2 at a time like this. So when I run across those kind of patterns and I really want to stitch them, knit them, I use the small the 9-inch circular needles, and just start, like I start one, knit a little bit, and then I start the other one, and I try to kind of go back and forth until I get to a spot where that twisty thing isn't happening anymore, and then I move them together at, wherever they are, to the 2 circular needles. So yeah, my brain is such that if my needles look the same, I will knit off the needle onto the other one when I'm not supposed to. So I always do one metal and one wood, or at least ones that look very different. So I don't do that whenever I'm using 2 circulars. Okay, so I guess I can leave this out. I'll put it back in there for now. I might work on these while I'm here. So it'd be nice to have these finished this year also. We'll see. So I think that's it. I don't really have anything sciencey to say today. We have been trying to watch the birds. Yesterday was a tough day for the birds. There was a very stiff, like 25-mile-per-hour north wind. Like I mentioned earlier, our house faces the north, at least the side of the house with all the windows faces the north, and so there weren't very many birds. We live right on a little bay and brackish water, and I hope you didn't just hear my tummy. Oh, Dave, what's that landing in the backyard? It looked like it had a black head and a white ring around its neck. It went down either right before or right after the fence. Color-wise, I was thinking it was a kingfisher, but it was the wrong size and the wrong shape. Maybe it was a duck of some kind? A duck just flew. What was that duck that just flew? Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it was. Do they have black on the head? Maybe it wasn't actually black. Sorry, birds. But we did have a great blue heron out there today, earlier. And there was something that just flew in, but I don't know what it was. I didn't get a good look at it. Anyway, I hope you enjoy Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving or whatever, if you're celebrating a holiday this week. If you're not, just enjoy. Period. So that's it for this episode. We'll see how things are right at the end of the semester. If I can squeeze in another one in about 2 weeks, just especially if I picked up some of that other Christmas stitching I mentioned. Otherwise, you'll see me in about a month. Right sometime between the middle of the month and Christmas, to show you what I've been working on, and maybe I'll have maybe I will have something sciencey to say more than what birds are in the backyard. Anyway, please take time to be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, and be kind to your neighbor. And thanks again for watching. Bye.